You are listening to Venus Rose, interactive spiritual Q&A and the power of sound.
Music is like sunshine.
Hello, conscious souls. How are you feeling? How do you handle fear? Is my main question for you. How have you been? We have the last days in watery Cancer season before we head on to fiery Leo territory. Mercury, the smallest planet in our solar system, is already in Leo, but started to go retrograde, or in simple terms, appears to go backwards, 2 days ago on the 18th. He does that 3 times during a year, about 3.5 weeks. The good astrologers out there give a weather forecast, so to speak, about what oftentimes occur when Mercury goes retrograde. In general, it is about redoing things, reassessing, and basically cleaning out closets, metaphorically, in the first place, but physically, too. So before we leave the most emotional frequency of the zodiac signs, I would like to talk about the one important emotion we all carry to some degree, named fear. I started this podcast with the question, what about self-love? Now I ask, how do you balance fear? There is a saying that the opposite of love is not hate but fear. How can that be? The way I look at this is that love is an expansion. It is more than an emotion. It is a frequency that fuels all creation. It allows everything to exist. Please don't get me wrong. I'm talking about an energy, not about a so-called unconditional love without self-boundaries or spiritual bypassing. I'm talking about the universe, or like the polymath Mr. Robert Edward Grant calls it, the U-inverse. If I understand at least one aspect correctly, he means that we create the outside through what resides inside of us. I'm talking about everything that is and will be. I'm talking about the intelligence that is always present and ever unfolding. It may be subtle, but always there. Fear, on the other hand, is like when something tries to take over, to hold you captive. Whether it holds you back from something or it pushes you to do things. Fear does not give you space. It does not allow. Opposite of relaxed, there is always an urge to do something. This stems from our biological wiring, the part that some call our lizard brain. It influences the body's vital functions, such as heart rate, breathing, and body temperature. You may have heard about the fight or flight response, an immediate physical reaction to a threat. Once, this function has helped our ancestors to stay alive, because when adrenaline and cortisol kick in, we can run faster than usual and do other incredible stuff with our physical body. But what happens in today's day and age when these survival patterns that are supposed to last minutes or maybe hours to help escape a danger are permanent? When those threats are not a lion you want to escape from, but your boss at work, for example, that you have to face every day. It causes permanent stress, which means the physical bodies are under tension, around the clock, What kind of health issues can arise as a result of this is a theme for a whole standalone episode. Today I wanted to bring some awareness to how our physical bodies are wired to react when fear is present. That is why it feels so capturing. To survive is very deeply programmed within us, in other species too, but we have the ability to reflect ourselves in general in a way that can help us dissect those patterns so they don't hold us captive. And I want to emphasize on in general, because we need to be in a relaxed state to do this. Otherwise, when you are in a fear-based mode constantly, you can't reflect properly. This is the point when we need support. Whether it is a friend, a mentor, teacher, or a coach. People who come to do a session with me are looking into those patterns on a soul level. We ask the soul what the reason for their current dissonance in their life is, to check out the deepest roots for the issues, to solve it from there. It is not about rainbows and unicorns here. They might say hello, though. But in general, more about understanding where do these emotions come from. For example, where does shame come from? It is really me? From my upbringing through my parents? Yes, most likely. But what if it goes way deeper? Traced back to an ancestor in my bloodline who was shunned by their village or tribe because of something they did? Perhaps they simply looked a certain way. Or maybe they were capable of something the others were not, which frightened the family. If you are interested in this kind of knowledge to solve issues you have not been able to grasp properly, you can contact me via email, which you can find in the show notes. Flower essences can be of help in various ways in the field of fear as well. Ask me if you would like to try something out and like to have some guidance with it. For example, Bach flower remedy Mimulus luteus. You can take this essence when you know what kind of nature the fear is you have. Like spiders are scary, or I don't like the dark, or more general, over-exaggerate concern for daily events in life. The essence aspen, in Latin populus tremula, in comparison, can support when you have fear of the unknown, when you have hidden distress or nightmares. I suggest those blossoms when the anxiety is vague. Red clover, in Latin Trifolium pratenese, on the other hand, is useful when one tends to get easily into panic. I often recommend this for animals. Red clover works with our blood by enhancing the flow. Through this, it benefits the support of oxygen and the transport of oxygen that helps to calm down. This is the tricky thing with fear. It is not always straightforward. It comes along masked as an inner critic that seeds doubts in a milder case, or it is so heavily brutal it practically does not allow you to do something and you may not know why. Guilt is a strong emotion, shame as well. Those two are especially heavy in the way they are structured. What I mean is, they have strong anxiety as an underlying current. Both emotions prevent us from growing, evolving further to get into lightheartedness in our lives. When you carry a lot of guilt whoever has put that on you, and you have given in or accepted that, you are never free, and most certainly do not feel peace. Which means at the end of the day, the happiness each being on this earth thrives for from within is simply not fully possible. You might say, but what if someone is guilty? In a worse scenario, committed a crime? That can be the case, and the being should take the responsibility for what they have done and be held accountable in an appropriate way. Whatever that means in a particular case is a whole different story to discuss. I'm not judging anyone, neither am I a judge, so this is not my place to talk about that. The only reason I took this extreme example is to turn the page and ask, a being who committed a crime has still parents, or at least a mother that loves. There might be a spouse or lover that loves them, although they may have done terrible things. There are so many nuances to this. I do not want to deepen this further, just a short highlight that in the darkest circumstances, love is still present somehow. It always is, and allows everything to be. Fear, on the other hand, if out of control, likes to cancel. It was used since thousands of years to control the masses in many different ways. Still, it is important for us to have fear. We can't exist without it in this dualistic system we are all living in. People who tend to overestimate things may have less fear than others. It is always about balance. Fear is not necessarily negative. It helps you to stay alive, but you need to be aware about your fears and be honest with yourself about it. I learned that it helped me to stay alert with my senses, all of them, including those extra sensitive abilities as well. Or was it the other way around? Did the senses help me stay alert, and that is why I was never a fearful person? I know many sensitive people who are anxious, but I believe that they simply have not sorted things out. Being sensitive, or even extra sensitive, is a gift. And more than that, it is a strength. You just need to learn how to wield it. If you would like some assistance in exploring your abilities, send me an email so we can take a look at them. One of my most brilliant teachers I had in this life always asked, do you lead your fear on the leash, or does it have you under control? As someone who works with horses as flight animals, I learned a lot about anxiety from them, how they deal with it, and how I have to deal with mine, not only around them, but everywhere I go. Being around that kind of creatures shapes you, as a person in general. The way you carry yourself and what you emanate. It is not about being controlled. On the other hand, you learn to be relaxed because they can sense your tension and fear immediately. I say you should definitely need to sort your own stuff out to some degree if you want to handle them with care and not violence to keep them scared. That only holds tension. This was just a short example on how we need to be attentive with ourselves and decide how much space we want to give fear within us, or better said, in our lives. It is all a matter of balance. I like it harmonious, which does not mean it is quiet in my life. On the contrary, because I have my fears on a leash, small, I would say, I love action and adventures of any kind. We are heading into Leo season next week. That means the sun, individuality, play, children, and being romantic are on the plate. If you have questions around these things in connection with spirituality, head over to my Instagram or my YouTube channel named Crystal Seraphim Sound and leave me a question in the comments. Or for those of you who are not on social media, send me an email if you would like to book a session as well. You can find everything in the show notes. I wish you a good time, and as always, let me know what moves you. Love to you all, Rose.